What's up, people? Welcome to my little corner here on YouTube. I am your host, Ray, aka Sourdough Shonen. Today, I'll be going over Season 1 of I've Been Killing Slimes for 300 years and I maxed out my level, or 300 Slimes for short. Season 2 is about to air on Japanese televisions, and yes, it has been four long years since Season 1 debuted, and I figured a few of you could use a little bit of a refresher course for this relatively wholesome, wacky girl empowering isekai comedy. So without further ado, let's play ball. Our main protagonist, Aizusa Ayazawa, is a Japanese office worker who works long hours every day with no rest in sight. She ended up working so hard that she literally keeled over on her desk. That's a way to go. Luckily for this story, our main protagonist Azusa gets a second chance in life thanks to a kind-hearted goddess who takes pity on our main character. She reincarnates Azusa into a perfect, peaceful fantasy life that she has been desperately searching for. And not only did she unlock the easy mode on the game of life, she was also born as the cutest 17-year-old witch with a ton of magical potential. The goddess even threw in eternal life and youth so Azusa can chillax evermore. So, Azusa is literally set up for success in her new Stardew Valley life. From time to time, she visits her local small village town known as Balta for her other essentials. The most stressful part of her day is dealing with the slime monsters that reside between her house and the town. Thanks to Azusa unlocking new Game Plus mode, these slimes are actually really easy to beat. She even obtains items from them after defeating them, which she then sells at the local guild for a little bit of coin. With this income source plus her mad magic skills, Azusa decides to become a medicine woman of sorts. In time, she receives the title, the Witch of the Highlands. So yeah, that just became a routine for 300 years. Sleep, eat, grow some crops, hunt some slimes, and occasionally help on a village or two when they're feeling under the weather. One day as she's visiting her local guild, the receptionists wonder what Azusa's stats are after being alive for 3 centuries, which Azusa has never bothered checking after all this time. It turns out when you kill 25 slimes a day for a long period of time, it does indeed add up. She even has maxed out her level at 99. Azusa is not happy about her newfound strength whatsoever. She wishes to keep this a secret and maintain her perfectly peaceful, quiet life. However, word gets out quickly of just how strong she is. Everyone starts showing up and looking for a fight at her own doorstep. One of these challenges is a dragon named Laika. Laika is a powerful dragon who is determined to prove herself to be the strongest in the region. Azusa, with very little choice, reluctantly accepts the dragon's challenge. During the fight, Laika accidentally falls on top of Azusa's house and destroys her peaceful sanctuary. The dragon does promise to make amends and takes off for the day. The next day, an innocent-looking redhead girl meets Azusa with a sack of gold. It turns out this young lass is the same individual who wrecked her house just yesterday. Who would have guessed that such creatures can turn to such cute anime girls? Psst, if you like monster girls, have I got a show for you? Back to the story. Laika is so impressed by the whooping she got from Azusa that she begs Azusa to let her move in with her as well as accept her as her first pupil. Azusa cautiously accepts Laika's request with the agreement that she will help around the house with the daily chores. Yes, this woman is so lazy that she's willing to accept strangers into her home if that means she doesn't have to work as hard. And here, I thought I was a lazy SOB. With this new relationship established, Laika wishes to impress her new master. She even offers to remodel Azusa's house herself. She even throws in a new addition or two from the original blueprints. I need to get me a dragon. As the nighttime approaches, Azusa forces Laika to stop her construction. She points out that working herself to a bone all day long is a foolish thing and is not the way of the Witch of the Highlands. A very touching moment that recurs several times throughout the series, which is the life lesson Azusa wishes to teach all her pupils, as you'll see throughout the series, because her time in Japan was not good. Laika ends up remodeling their home in a few days. The oddball couple move in together and start their new life together. All is going well until they get a knock on the door on one fateful morning. When Azusa opens up the door, she finds a cute little blue-haired girl named Falfa who claims to be her daughter. Azusa turns white. She explains that that can't be true because she has not had a romantic relationship in the last 300 years. And I thought I had no game. Not only does our main protagonist have to deal with a mysterious love child, but she also has to deal with the threat on her life. Falfa explains to Azusa that her twin sister Salsha is looking to eliminate the Witch of the Highlands. Sure enough, shortly afterwards, a green-haired girl that looks awfully a lot like Falfa shows up looking for a fight. The episode reveals that both Salsha and Falfa are slime spirits that were born out of the many slimes that Azusa has been fighting for centuries. So, in a way, you could say Azusa is indeed responsible for giving the twins life. However, all that telenovela drama is going to have to wait because now it's time to put up our dukes. Despite Azusa's level 99 status, she has a very difficult time defending herself against Salsha's smite magic. So, Salsha has been saving her cursed energy for 50 years towards the person responsible for hunting down all her slimes. Talk about a lust for revenge. Ooh! Someone pulled me away. Laika, being the loyal student that she is, enters the brawl to protect her teacher. Surprise to everyone, Solskjaer folds like a lawn chair against Laika. Apparently, Solskjaer's almighty power only works against the person she has cursed, and nobody else. By the time Solskjaer wakes up, all of her smite magic is gone. Her dreams for revenge go up in smoke. Thankfully, Falfa has a heart-to-heart with her little sister and convinces her to give up on her quest for retribution. With that matter settled, Ozzy accepts the Slime twins as her rightful daughters. Aww. To make it official, she invites them to live with her and Laika. The girls happily accept their mother's offer. Talk about sweetness. Whoa, indeed. We'll be right back with 300 more slimes after today's sponsor, Little Old Me. Hopefully you've been finding this video helpful or a little entertaining so far. Making content on the internet is a time-consuming hobby. Let me tell you, it is extremely disheartening to work on a project for weeks just to fall on deaf ears. However, you can help change that. If you simply click that thumbs up button and leave a comment down below, you greatly increase my chances that other anime fans such as yourself might be able to see this video, which would definitely mean the world to me. Okay, enough of the sell. Let's go back to I have been killing slimes for 300 years and I maxed out my level. Yikes, these names. Everything is going nicely for our newfound family until they get yet another mysterious knock on the door one fateful night. A busty blonde elf named Halkra has come to seek protection against the powerful demon Lord Beelzebub. Halkra explains that she is an apothecary who makes a living off her popular alcoholic energy drink, Nutrispirit. The Lord of the Flies, aka Beelzebub, got sick after tasting this fantasy-flavored full locals and is out for blood against Halkra. The next day, the clumsy elf officially moves in with the Witch of the Highlands, and Ozzy sets up a barrier outside the house just in case Beelzebub shows up looking for trouble. After a few days and one unnecessary drunk Yuri scene later, anime, no demon lord. However, a wanted poster for Hawker shows up at the local town. Everyone becomes concerned that the big baddie is closing in. So now, it's just down to Azazel and Halkra. As they're waiting at the house, they couldn't help but notice a little fly buzzing around inside the house. Sure enough, the fly turns out to be Beelzebub. You get it? Beelzebub? Oh, Japan and their weird obsession of wordplay. Wait, shouldn't she be a bee? Before the Lord of the Flies can get her revenge, Azazel claims Hawkwood to be a pupil of hers and that Beelzebub must fight her in order to get to the elf. As the fight begins, Bubsy hits the magic barrier that Ozza forgot she put up the other day. Just like that, our big showdown is over before it even begins. Later on, Bee explains why she's really hunting down Hakura. It so happens she isn't mad at the elf entrepreneur whatsoever. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Bee, along with the rest of the demon world, are in love with Nutrispirit. So much so that she wants Hakura to make more of the stuff. It was a simple anime misunderstanding. With everything cleared up, we once again have a happy-go-lucky family dynamic with a new elf roommate and a friendly demon visitor that enjoys the company of the young twins. Speaking about family, our next episode has Laika returning home to attend her older sister's wedding. Ooh, I love weddings. Where else can a guy get a free drink? So everyone dresses up to the nines and heads to Mount Roko, where Laika's fiery dragon family lives. Laika introduced Lady Ozza to her family during the wedding rehearsal. Everything is going swimmingly well until some icy blue dragons show up. It is explained that the blue dragons and the red dragons have been fighting with each other for centuries. Their leader, Flator, has come to spoil the festivities because she is envious that Lila's older sister is getting married and not her. Well, that's funny. With an attitude like that, I can't imagine why she's still single. Azusa gets her hands dirty protecting her family from the wedding crashes. She gives Flator a foot to the face, which sends her and her blue cronies packing. The next day, Laika is still worried that the Blue Dragons might return and spoil the wedding. However, that concern is immediately remedied by Beelzebub. It would seem the Blue Dragon showed up to a local hot springs close by, looking to start up trouble yet again. Too bad for them, Bee just so happened to be there and literally stopped them in the tracks before they could do any harm to the local townsfolk. Azusa forces Flator to pay for yesterday's damages, as well as sign a non-aggression treaty between the dragon tribes. The Blue Dragon leader reveals her true human form, or one of her forms I guess, and admits defeat. And the wedding goes off without a hitch. Woo! And that's about it for this chapter. The girls celebrate with a nice soak in the hot springs for a job well done. Our next adventure with our fantasy found family takes place when Hulklet tries to move her drink manufacturing to a new facility that is haunted by a ghost. It's up to Azusa to play Ghostbuster, or should I say Beelzebub, because the Witch of the Highlands is scared of ghosts. So she summons the Lord of the Flies with her magic, and their daughters work their magic on her so that she'll be willing to accept and take on the job of being the newest Ghostbuster. So in a way, you could say that she got slimed. When our heroes arrive at the factory, the ghost dispenses with the cheap jump scares, which is super effective against Azazel and Halkara. Bee ain't having none of it though. She demands the ghost to reveal itself or she'll turn the factory into a manure plant. I hate manure. Beelzebub gets a hold of the ghost, which turns out to be a cheeky lass named Rosalie. Rosalie then proceeds to drop a dime on her tragic past. Her parents were not good folks, because they tried to sell off to a terrible noble just to put some money in their pockets. The only way Rosalie was able to get away from this arranged marriage was to try to get isekai'd, which did not work. She ended up becoming a bound spirit to this small piece of land instead. Instead of helping Rosalie move on to the next dimension, she is offered a chance to live with Azusa and company. Thanks to demon research, bound spirits can switch from being bounded to a physical place to being bound to a person instead, after they possess them for a short period of time. The little trick is it has to be a person that's a bit of a weak-minded individual. And, take a guess who it's going to be. Everyone turns to the show's punching bag and ta-da! Rosalie can now move in with Oz's family after taking control of the elf's body for a little bit. However, there's a new problem. Rosalie can't seem to leave Hakura's body, which can turn be fatal for Hakura. Just when all hope seems lost, a glass of wine seems to do the trick. The booze puts Rosalie to sleep, and Hakura wakes up in her own body with no clue what's been going on for the last several hours. With that and a nice cold bath, the two souls finally separate from each other. And like that, another problem solved and another person to add to the family Christmas card. It looks like Rosalie has a chance to find the happiness she never found in her old life. Which is a rather touching, wholesome family moment. Our next journey takes place in the Mystic Demon Realm. Hopefully they will need the assistance from a spirit detective for this trip. Thanks to Aza's negotiating skills from her encounter dealing with the red and blue dragons, she has earned the Medal of Honor from the Demon King. Beelzebub formally invites the entire family to the ceremony that will take place in their home turf, where the Demon King themselves will honor the Witch of the Highlands personally. After getting Rosalie situated with a new dress for the occasion by pulling a Gurren Lagann, look it up if you don't believe me, Bubsy shows up in Grand Mission to take everyone to the demon world on a floating whale. Oh shit, it's the whale from ReZero. Oh, apparently it's not a whale, it's a leviathan. Anyways, this leviathan is so big that it actually carries an entire resort on its back. You can think of it as like a cruise liner between the two realms. Talk about traveling in style. As Bee is giving a grand tour of the place, she discovers the soul servant on board, slacking off in one of the baths. Boys, people sure like baths to the show. Enter Vani the Leviathan. Her and her sister, Fatla, take turns acting as transporter and host. How such a behemoth of a being can change into such a cute little anime girl is beyond my comprehension. Man, oh man, Monster Girls fans are eating well in this show. Our ladies reach their demon destination after one night of traveling. Before Azusa can meet the Demon King for the first time, the whole family worries that Hakuya will somehow screw things up and get herself thrown in prison or something much worse. This is what you call foreshadowing, kids. Following a trek around the labyrinth that is Von Sill Castle, aka the capital of the Demon Realm, the gang enter the throne room where the Demon King awaits their presence. Before they can reach the throne, an innocent-looking ram girl in black appears in front of our nervous band. She is very kind and simply wants to meet with the famous Witch of the Highlands. Hakuya tells his kid to buzz off because they are here to see the Demon King and not some silly little child. Right then, Laika realizes no one is actually sitting in the throne. And yep, sure enough, this precious-looking childlike demon is in fact Pecora, the Demon King herself. Uh-oh. The boneheaded elf attempts to apologize for her less than kind words, but she only keeps digging herself a bigger and bigger grave. Luckily, Pecora is a kind leader who doesn't take any offense to this boob's clumsy use of the English language. Just when it looks like everything's gonna work out fine, Hakura accidentally knocks out the Demon King cold with her big empty head. She goes directly to jail, does not collect $200, and is sentenced to death. And that's how you foreshadow, kids. The only way to save Hakura now is for the Demon King to pardon her, which is kind of hard at the moment since she's bloody unconscious. It's up to Azusa once again to use her magic and her powers to wake up the Demon King in order to save her pupil. A few fights later, she enters Pecora's chambers with some funky wake-up juice that will hopefully do the trick. Before Azusa can do her Prince Charming routine, the Demon King suddenly wakes up. With a situation like this, as you can imagine, she is very suspicious of our protagonist and what they've been doing this whole time. So much so that she has to challenge her to a duel in order to find out the fate of Hakura. These two OP characters go at it with all their might. One broken sword, and KB Don later, Azusa takes home the belt. After some uncomfortable rizzing, Pecora agrees to let Hakura go, which I'm starting to wonder if that's the right call. With the charges dropped, the medal ceremony continues as planned. The defeated blue dragon Faltor makes an appearance once again to officially swear she will never break the treaty in front of the whole demon world. To spice things up, Pecora demands that Faltor must allow Azusa to touch her horns. Why touch your horns? Well, apparently in the Blue Dragon community, having someone touch your horns, they bend the knee to them. The poor Blue Dragon degrades herself yet again just to keep the peace. With the ceremony over, Aza and her cohorts return home via Leviathan Airlines. This time, Falva entertains our heroes while Vanya takes over as captain. While on board, Flator reveals that she must now follow her new master no matter where they go. Aza, being the kind witch that she is, invites Flator to move in with her, but commands her that she must think for herself and not just take anyone's orders. She must live her life freely. The Blue Dragon agrees to the witch's orders and then proceeds to get some affection from her new master. No, not a master anymore. Her new mommy? No, that doesn't sound much better. Let's just move on. Let's move on. This show can be weird sometimes. Oh god, speaking about awkward situations, we're at episode 8. All you really need to know what happens in episode 8 is that Aza meets a fellow immortal forever young witch named Enno, who is known as the Witch of the Cave. Enno's claim to fame is her magic medicine. It's a rather simple but effective drug. Yeah, that's all the important information you need from this really bad, ecchi filler episode that goes absolutely nowhere. So yeah, you're welcome. Our next tribulation centers around Falfa, who has become an ordinary slime somehow overnight. While everyone else in the series can transform at will into a humanoid version of themselves for some reason, apparently the twins can't or don't know how to do this. So, in order to get Falfa back to her normal state, the family is off to the Demon Well to ask the smartest slime in all the realms to see if they can help with Falfa's situation. After getting lost inside the Demon King's castle for half a day, I told you it was a labyrinth, they finally meet Intelligent Slime. Yes, that is literally their name. This wise slime points in the direction of a magical slime that lives in the mountains known as, wait for it, Magician Slime. The next day, Aza meets with this slime that can transform into human using magic. Maggie, aka Magician Slime, is able to diagnose Falfa's problem. The reason she changed into slime in the middle of the night was because she pulled a muscle and her body reverted back to its original state to recover. It just so happens I also turn into a puddle of slime once I pull mine back. Don't get old, people. Maggie tells the team they must seek the aid from the fighting slime Fighty. Boy, this show loves this joke. Apparently, Fighty developed a human form after training many years as a slime. Azaza's fetch quest continues as she heads to the other side of the land where Fighty is entering a tournament to prove her strength. The Witch of the Highlands and the Lord of the Flies decide to both enter the same tournament in order to meet the fighting slime. Bubsy faces off Fighty and pulls a Saitama, which was definitely not part of the plan. Bellsy takes this golden opportunity to finally fight Azaza with just using physical strength and no magic, which just so happens to be the rules of this tournament. How lucky. Oh yeah, Falfa somehow got better off screen because of reasons. With that problem solved, Azaza can now concentrate on the matter at hand. These destined frenemies duke it out to see who will reign supreme. Azaza, of course being the protagonist, plays the heart of the cards and gets the upper hand on the 3,000-year-old demon. And just like that, Azaza takes home yet another trophy, and Beelzebub takes on Fighty as a new student, so at least she got something. And with that, our tournament arc ends, and we move on to the next chapter. During one of their ordinary shopping days in town, the fam discovers a traveling bunny minstrel musician named Shiranai. To everyone's dismay, her style of music isn't very pleasant unless you're a heavy metal or emo fan like Flator is. During her performance, Shiranai lives up to the stereotype of being a starving musician and passes out right in front of everyone because of starvation. Azaza takes this starving artist home for a proper family dinner. After eating and a nice bath, the bunny gal takes off her rock and roll persona. She formally introduces herself as Cuckoo to everyone. Cuckoo is a rather normal person when she's not on stage. She tells the gang about her past of being a struggling musician. She had big dreams to become a popular musician and left home early on, but has never had success after 60 years of trying. I know your pain, sister. Me too. Like and subscribe. After this recent episode though, Cuckoo is about to give up on her dreams. And sadly, her only option to make any money in this world is to become a hostess at a host club. It would seem that bunny girls are also popular in this world too. Aza, who relishes in taking in strays, proposes to Cuckoo to stay with them for a while so she can really focus and study on her music. The minstrel bunny gladly accepts her offer. Flator, being an amateur musician herself, has a tough heart-to-heart with Cuckoo. She points out that Cuckoo should play more popular music and give up on the deep-cut rock genres. However, Cuckoo doesn't want to sell out to the man. The Blue Dragon proves her point by playing a little number that shocks everyone. Everyone else gets in on the act by coming up with a song and hopes to inspire Cuckoo in her journey. As a side note, I was a little disappointed in the English dub. During these segments, all they did was switch to the Japanese voice track and did not redub the scenes, which I know is very hard to do during the broadcast release, but during the home release, Funimation used to actually go back and do these things, which I really loved. If you just happen to know if they actually did in fact switch this out, please let me know down below in the comments. I really am curious. I love musical performances in anime. Back to 300 Slimes. Cuckoo burns the midnight oil in search for her first smash hit. In time, she finalizes her new song. Before Cuckoo takes off on her musical journey, Beelzebub shows up out of the blue with booze and requests for her to play a song. Cuckoo obliges to the demon officer's request. Cut to Bee in tears after hearing this brand new song. She adores it so much that she wants Cuckoo to play at the upcoming demon festival. Think Coachella with less debauchery. Cuckoo musters the strength to play in front of 20,000 potential new fans in this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Will she capture it, or just let it slip on spaghetti? Of course she hits it out of the park with her fabulous rock ballad that would even make Koryuki jealous. This unknown artist became an overnight success after decades of putting in the hard work. She even made some lifetime friends with our fantasy family, especially with Flat Tour, one for the Blue Dragons. Our penultimate episode is more of a silly escapade. Our usual fantasy family is enjoying an outdoor barbecue featuring mushrooms that Hakura picked herself. Everything is fine until Azusa eats one of the poisonous mushrooms that Hakura accidentally puts on the menu. The mushroom is not fatal, but it does have a weird side effect on humans. These fungi make people smaller. It's more like younger. And so yes, now we have a mini Azusa to deal with. So now Azusa has to relive her childhood with that she technically never had in this world now that I think about it. Anyway, everyone is obsessed with how cute she is. The Little Witch of the Highlands gets fed up with this lifestyle and begins to search for a cure. Her travels take her back to Castle Von Sell, where Pecora mentions that there is a special tree far, far away known as the Life Tree. At the very top of this life tree lives a pharmacist. The pharmacist there sells all kinds of medicines for all kinds of remedies, one which will hopefully bring Azusa back to her normal size, or age. However, there are over 100 floors to reach the top of this tree. Each floor has its own trials and tribulations to overcome. With this info, Azusa heads off to the Life Tree with the assistance of the Leviathan sisters Vanya and Fatla. When they get there, this lustrous, magnetic tree is a little less impressive once it's revealed that half of this place is more of a tourist attraction than anything else. Nevertheless, our protagonist presses on through the crowds, the monsters, and the traps to seek a cure. After 1 week, our heroes finally reach the very tippy top of this tree and meet the pharmacist. On the plus side, the pharmacist does have the answer to Azusa's problems. The downside is, it is a very common and familiar medicine. To fix her growing pains, Azusa simply needs to take the same kind of pill that Enno made back in episode 8. The very same medicine Azusa already had back at home. If that wasn't enough, Enno herself shows up to explain that Azusa didn't have to take up the stairs just to reach the shop. Apparently, certain wyverns can easily reach the very top of the life tree with no problems. It would seem that Picard is up to her old tricks again and just loves seeing people suffer. Oh well, all's well that ends well, I guess. Our final chapter has our family and friends opening up a little maid cafe to celebrate one of the local festivals. Everyone comes together to pull off a spectacular experience that the local townfolks won't forget anytime soon. Everyone from the entire season stops by for a little quick cameo just to summarize our wacky, crazy adventures we had on this 12-episode journey. And yeah, that's really about it. It is a rather silly and cute note to end the season on, which is way better than 1997's Berserk's ending. Where is that last episode? Damn you, Griffin. Damn you. There you go, people. That is everything you need to know before you start watching 300 Slimes Season 2. Let me tell you, this project was way more difficult than I expected to be, and I do hope you guys found this video to be at least somewhat helpful. If you like my terrible jokes and my old references, you of course can help me with my online exploits by hitting that like button, leaving me a comment down below, of course subscribe to the channel, all here on YouTube. And if you want to go beyond Plus Ultra, you can go ahead and follow me on my various social medias, like Bluesky and Instagram. I'm also over on Twitch sometimes, go ahead and follow me there. And if you're tired of me waiting to put out a new video on here every 6 months, you can go ahead and follow me over on my anime podcast, Taku Podcast. It is an anime podcast, so if you like this channel, you might like the podcast, so please go ahead and check that out. The links to all this stuff will be down below in the description box, so you're one click away to getting more Sourdough Shonen in your life, which, I'm sorry? And with all the shilling done, I truly thank you to make it to the very end of this video. Thank you so much. And of course, I hope you have a good one, and I'll hear from you in the near future. Until then, laters, people.